G'day, I'm Andrew Marshall with the Northern Australia Climate Program at the University of Southern Queensland. Back here this month for a short summary of the Bureau of Meteorology's climate outlook for the Northern Territory for the weeks and months ahead, issued in the few days leading up to the 21st of November 2025. So we'll take a look at the rainfall outlooks to begin with, starting with these outlook scenarios. And these are the rainfall totals that have a 75% chance of occurring for your region. So looking ahead to the 3 months from December to February, we're seeing a 75% chance of around 50 to 100 millimetres or so for southern parts of the territory, increasing as we head north up to about 600 millimetres or more around the Darwin region. And we can use this magnifying glass feature here to drill deeper into the forecast, specifying your location of interest to break the forecast down into the chance of different rainfall amounts occurring. And this gives you an idea of how conditions are likely to be compared to the historical median. And of course, you can ask your local climate mate to go through this with you in more detail. Now taking a quick look at the Bureau's northern rainfall totals since the 1st of September, and the green areas indicate where more than 50 millimetres of rain has fallen, and this is about the amount of rainfall required to stimulate plant growth. Now we'll look at the temperatures, and the differences from average for maximum temperature show a mix of slightly cooler conditions for some of the more northern and southern regions, and a slightly warmer signal appearing, particularly for some central parts of the territory, for the 2 weeks from the 25th of November to the 8th of December. And here the average is calculated over the 1981 to 2018 period for this time of year. And for minimum temperature, we're expecting cooler than average conditions for most of the territory over the next 2 weeks. Now looking at the chance of extremes map for the 3 months from December to February, we're seeing an elevated chance of unusually warm days and nights across all regions. And by unusually warm, we mean the highest 20% of historical temperature records for this time of year based on the 1981 to 2018 period. Now, of course, remember these long-range forecasts for rainfall and temperature do provide the best guidance for local climate, so that is our focus here. These forecasts consider all ocean and atmosphere conditions that affect seasonal weather and climate. But if you are interested in some of the climate indicators that can influence the forecasts, we will have a quick look at these now. And the El Niño Southern Oscillation remains neutral, but there are signs La Niña may be developing. Now, the ocean and atmosphere have been showing signs of this possible La Niña development since September, so we'll keep a close eye on this in the coming weeks. The Indian Ocean Dipole here, or the IOD, remains in a negative phase, and the Bureau's model predicts that the negative IOD will weaken during November with a return to neutral in December. And this is consistent with most international models assessed and with the typical life cycle of the IOD. The Madden-Julian Oscillation, or the MJO, is now in the Eastern Pacific region where it remains active as it continues eastward with moderate strength in phase 8 and likely into phase 1, as you can see here. Now, these are the dry phases of the MJO for Australia, so the MJO may be contributing to the outlook for below median rainfall over large parts of the country in December. The timing of the MJO may also influence the timing for the Australian monsoon onset in the next couple of months, so we'll be keeping a close eye on this as well. The Southern Annular Mode, or the SAM, has dipped into its negative phase recently, and it's worth noting that we saw the stratosphere warm over Antarctica in September and early October, which typically influences a negative SAM through spring and into early summer. Now, the Bureau's SAM forecast is tending negative in December, though within the neutral range. And the sea surface temperature outlook here is also likely to be influencing the forecast for Australia. This has shown warmer than average waters around most of Australia, and it's likely to continue in December through February, particularly to the east of the continent. Now, turning to the pasture growth outlook from Long Paddock for the 3 months from November to January, we're expecting to see pasture growth across most northern areas as shown here in response to the expected rainfall in the months ahead. And finally, looking at the Cattle Comfort Index prototype forecasts at nacpi.org.au, index values between 30 and 35 degrees represent moderate stress to cattle, values between 35 and 40 degrees represent severe stress, and values above 40 degrees are considered extreme, and we are expecting varying heat stress conditions over Northern Australia, with some extreme conditions over broad areas to be aware of in the days ahead. So as always, for more information and updates, visit the Bureau's climate pages at bom.gov.au/climate. If you have any questions about recent conditions or the use of weather and climate forecasts, please reach out to your local climate mate. You can read more about the Northern Australia Climate Program at nacp.org.au. See you next month.